For a while, I've wondered what the next coaster for this park is, or how can this park improve their lineup. Today we're going to answer that question with 3 different parks. How this is going to work is I'm going to give a park 3 options for their next coaster, and I'm going to pick the one that's the best fit, the one that's the most realistic, and the one that I want to happen the most. And with that clarified, let's go ahead and get started with the first park. The first park I have picked is Carowinds. I picked Carowinds because, the headquarters of this new Six Flags chain is located in Charlotte, so I thought that Carowinds is going to get a lot of investment. And another reason is because Carowinds is my home park. For the last 5 to 6 years, I have been asking myself what's next for this park. We are absolutely due for a new high thrill coaster since Copperhead Strike opened in 2019. The 3 options I have picked out for Carowinds are a massive dive coaster, a Vekoma tilt coaster, or a Hurler RMC conversion. I've also thought about a Vekoma Super Boomerang because that model looked great, but since we have Flying Cobras, it seemed unrealistic to have 2 Vekoma Boomerangs, even if they are different models. The dive coaster would probably fit in the old Nighthawk plot of land and would stand around 200 to 250 feet. Like realistically the height of Valraven, but in an ideal world it would be Yukon Striker's height. This has been talked about as an option for years, and I'd be so happy if this was the next coaster for us. I think it would probably be a similar layout to Yukon Striker, but on a smaller scale. The chain loves working with B&M, and they've added a lot of dives to their park recently in the last couple of years. And it would look beautiful in the skyline with Fury and Thunder Striker. This is a really good concept video that I would like to show you. I'm going to put it on screen right now, and the link is on YouTube. I'll put the link of the YouTube video in the description. The second option is a Vekoma tilt coaster. I started thinking about this as an option since Cedar Point announced theirs. Just look at that. It looks great. And every day I've gotten more and more excited about it. It's so unique, and what I love is that it could even fit in the old Dinosaurs Alive plot of land. I feel like it needs a little more, life over there, because it's just kind of like forest on the left of Afterburn. But it would most likely end up in the Nighthawk plot. I don't know how to describe this, but it just feels like a Carowinds coaster. It would fit in so well at this park and would make the park so much money with people wanting to come ride something so unique. The third and final option is the RMC Hurler conversion. Don't get me started. This has been the only thing on my mind since I did Hurler last. I refuse to ride this coaster again until it gets RMC'd. And it's looking more and more likely than it ever has been. With the merger happening, I see this as possibly like a 50% chance to happen in the next 5 years. And look what they did with the one at King's Dominion. It's perfect. Twisted Timbers is a top 5 coaster for me, and I wouldn't be mad if you just did the exact same thing. I also think they're planning to retheme and spice up the area near Fury Zone by adding flat rides and stuff, and big changes like that. Think about something like Aeronautica Landing, but smaller. It makes total sense because of the removal of some rides like the Drop Tower and that giant spinning wheel thing, forget what it's called. They've replaced that with Scrambler. They relocated it. It is now called Arachnophobia or whatever, Arachnidia. It would give this area of the park so much character, and I would never want to leave. Carowinds, please do this. Alright, so the final results. My pick for the most realistic is probably the dive coaster, because of how the chain has worked with B&M on this model recently, and other parks, and how this has been talked about as the next edition for years. But my pick for the best fit is also the dive coaster, because I really love the first impression it would make as you walk in the park, and it just feels like a Carowinds coaster, like I said with the tilt coaster. The massive holding section drop at the very front of the park would make for a perfect photo op for people they're just there to have fun, like families. Finally, my pick, that if I get to choose, it would be the RMC conversion, just because of how crazy it sounds to have a B&M Giga and an ejector-focused RMC in the same area. I love this idea for a 1-2 punch, just as good as King's Dominions, maybe better. It would give us a real number 2, because although Copperhead is good and Thunderstrucker is good, neither of them are worthy of being our number 2 in the park. The next park I have picked out is Cedar Point. I picked this park because it's already extremely popular, and it was a park that I had already had coaster ideas for. But speaking of that, my 3 picks are a Gerstlauer Infinity coaster, a GCI, and a Vekoma Family Boomerang. The first option I want to talk about is the Vekoma Family Boomerang. I think that they need to spice up stuff in this like first kitty section, which is like Planet Snoopy and Kitty Kingdom like combined. I consider that one land because they were like right next to each other and are both focused on the kids and kind of have similar color schemes, if that makes sense. And another reason I would put it here is because Camp Snoopy already has 2 kiddie coasters, and this would kind of help spread out the families that want to do these rides. But Cedar Point struggles with family and kid-focused rides, so these would absolutely help. The next option I chose was the Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. Think of Hang Time at Knott's Berry Farm and how that works in their boardwalk section. Now picture it in Cedar Point's boardwalk. Yeah, I know, it sounds epic. Actually, this option is from a Coaster Studios video. Taylor talked about it when reviewing the boardwalk section in his Cedar Point Park review. It's so unique and would be nothing like any ride at Cedar Point. It's also extremely photogenic. The last option for Cedar Point is GCI. Is having GCI come in and do a wooden coaster. I picked this as an option because it's easily the biggest hole in the park's lineup. They needed a high thrill GCI like Texas Stingray or a Prowler, or even something like Mystic Timbers. The only other Woody at the park is Blue Streak, and that thing is ancient, so a modern GCI would work wonders. The final results though, I think the most realistic is probably the Family Boomerang. I think Cedar Point is going to start focusing on upping their game with the families. Wild Mouse was a great addition, and I think this one would be great too. I think the best fit would probably be the GCI Woody. It's the biggest hole in the lineup, and it's an actual good attraction in the Snake River Falls Land. My pick is the Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. I just think it would look so beautiful in the boardwalk section, and it's such a unique choice. Now, the final park I picked out. I picked Dollywood because it's technically my second home park, and the future of this park looks really bright. I like speculating what's next, and my 3 options are a mock inverted power coaster, a B&M Hyper, and a mock extreme spinner. Let's start with the extreme spinner. So the reason I'm starting with this is because it's the most unrealistic. I like this idea because it's a unique model that Herschend has done before at their other parks like Silver Dollar City. I don't really know where they would put this, but it's just a cool idea because who doesn't like an extreme spinner? Next, the B&M Hyper. You're gonna see this in another episode when I cover another Herschend park, Silver Dollar City. But I think a tall, fast, well-paced coaster with good capacity and reliability would work wonders for this park. They need a coaster that doesn't have issues staying open and is a favorite for the general public. Lastly, the mock inverted power coaster. I think this is perfect for the park. Another good family-friendly attraction that has great theming and would be a first of its kind in the US. It's super marketable, and you could add it to Wildwood Grove to really make that the best kids land in a theme park. Finally, my results. My pick for the most realistic, the mock inverted power coaster. I think this is the most obvious answer because they need another attraction in Wildwood Grove, and this is the only family option that I have given, but it would also add more theming to the park, and who doesn't love more theming? Now next, I think the best fit is the extreme spinner. I mean, think more Ride to Happiness and not Time Traveler. They need to stand out at this park since Lightning Run doesn't run like it used to. And on that note, my pick is also the extreme spinner. This could easily be the best coaster in America, so why would I not pick that being a coaster enthusiast? It just sounds awesome. But lastly, let me know what you think of the video in the comments. Suggest what park you would like to see me do next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later.